Welcome back, everyone, to another edition of the SBS Podcast, good old Scorebird Sports Podcast. I'm Cam, that's Connor. Connor, how you doing today?
Not too bad. Moments ago, just down to Cafe Rio quesadilla, so
Hey, there
I
you
can't
go.
be feeling too much better. How about yourself?
Also had some Cafe Rio tonight. My
Oh,
mom
okay.
made some homemade Cafe Rio pork, so I was downing that just a little bit ago
All
as well.
right.
So
That's probably better than the real stuff, so.
yeah, it was pretty legit.
Homemade Cafe Rio always just hits different. It's always
Yeah.
better for some reason, but can't complain.
We'll start off this episode with our quick hot take: Cafe Rio or Costa Vida?
I'm overall a Costa Vida guy.
Okay.
I like their sauces better. I think they're less acidic, I guess is the best way to put it. Doesn't make
That's
me
fair.
feel so upset. And I feel like when I get a burrito, I feel like Cafe Rio kind of just throws it up together real quick and all messy. I'm like, what is this? It's already halfway rolling out, and Cafe Rio Costa Vida takes their time. It's their child, it's their baby. So that's my point. That's my opinion. But.
Yeah, that's fair. I don't know. I haven't had Costa Vida enough because I wasn't a huge fan of Mexican food before my mission, and then I served in Arizona, so I kind of had to become accustomed to it. But last time I had Costa Vida, my dad got included in some survey with the BYU football team, and so we got to go to some dinner. Jamal Williams was there, Johnny Linehan was there, Elisa Tuyaki was there, and some other, I forget who else was there, but that was the last time I had Costa Vida was at that dinner. That was probably I don't know, whenever Jamal was still in college, so 7-8 years ago now.
2016 or something like that?
Yeah.
Maybe even farther. I can't remember the last time. I can't remember a senior year, but Costa Vida's the best, bro.
Crazy stuff. Yeah, it's pretty good though. I don't think you can go wrong with either one.
No, it's hard to miss on either or.
Yeah.
But you said speaking of hot takes, I have another hot take.
Okay.
I saw this story the other day. Here, let me share my screen real quick.
Oh, sweet. Joe Adele just hit another homer for my Angels. Now it's tied 4-4.
All right. Yeah, here, let me pull up where is it? Where'd it go? Okay. All right, let me share while I get this pulled up. It has something to do with baseball.
Okay.
So I saw this post from someone the other day. Some Clark Cameron. He said, "Suck it, Shohei."
Yep.
So just examine that real quick. Take it in for a sec.
The thing is, although you got to give some context. First off, I love so it's a triple play. Shohei hits into a triple play against the Angels, and freaking Dalton Rushing on first base completely slips and almost tears 90% of the ligaments in his legs. Luckily, he was free and he didn't get too hurt. But I don't know. It just feels good. There's not too many times where you get to have some Shohei slander, and I remember exactly the moment where I found out that Shohei was coming to the Angels. I remember I was in middle school.
Yeah.
I think I was in 8th grade. I think I was in 8th grade, which is 8 years ago now. And I remember coming off, we had these giant steps in our commons area. And I remember I was a little late for lunch, and I must have been helping a teacher with something after class. And I remember just jumping off the top of those stairs and just being like, "Yeah, let's go!" I was so excited because everyone thought he was going to go to the Yankees or someone. And I'm like, "Oh, I'll probably go to the Mariners. That's where all the Japanese players go." But I was so excited. And then it's a bummer. I still think Shohei's the best player in baseball. But it kind of sucks to have him on the Dodgers. So.
Yeah, I was gonna say, you remembered where you were, where you got the news. Where were you? Do you remember the day when you heard the news of the unfortunate event?
So I was on my mission, so I don't remember exactly when it was, but I do remember I was having lunch with a member
I was at the members' house. I was sitting in their back right corner on their floor, left seat.
It was opening day, and we were at a restaurant. I forget, was it called the Haymaker? I forget what it was called. It was really good food, though. And I remember, like, MLB Network was on in the corner. So I'm trying not to watch it, but, like, this is one of, like, the fun members where it's, like, you don't need to talk a whole lot of, like, missionary stuff. It's just, like, you're there, like, he wants to know who you're teaching, what's going on, but he also just wants to treat the missionaries. And so I remember being there, and I, like, look up, like, I glance up, just, like, wonder what's going on, and Trout's up, and I see Trout hit a homer. And I was like, oh, sweet. Like, this didn't happen a whole lot. And then all of a sudden after that, they quickly cut to inside the park with the ballpark cam. It showed Shohei running out in a Dodger uniform, and the spirit was immediately gone. And I was like, oh, shouldn't have been watching that. Like, it was definitely there when Trout hit his homer, but when they showed Shohei in Dodger blue, it was gone.
Just got sucked out of you. Your soul, the spirit just left the room. It was like,
I had to go repent after that.
Yeah.
Before winter planning.
Oh, that's funny. No, I had to take a screenshot of that and bring it up casually because I thought it was hilarious. I'm like, the most lovable baseball player probably, and of all people, Cam has a little bit of a hatred. Yeah. Or is it just sweet victory? Because the Angels have beat the Dodgers, 6 times?
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
and lost nothing?
Swept them this year.
Yeah.
So I didn't lose at all to the Dodgers this year, which was pretty awesome. You got to take victories where you can get them as an Angels fan.
Mm-hmm.
You don't get many. That's why, whenever something good happens with the Angels, like Joe Adell's popping off this year, and I'm like, heck yeah. And freaking Bryce Teodosio, is Salt Lake Bees staple last year, is popping off right now. Just little things like that, which I still haven't been to a game at the new stadium for the Bees, but
neither have I.
It's good stuff. Definitely can't complain.
Hey, we'll get into more baseball talk later in the show. Maybe the Angels make a push. We'll know. Maybe we'll talk about it. We'll talk about it.
I guarantee you they won't.
Hey! We don't like that. We don't like that.
That is
Angels
a guarantee.
That's a guarantee. Wow. 7 games doesn't seem like that much. Come on.
Yeah, I've learned not to get my hopes up.
All right. Well, stay tuned. We'll see if Cam's hopes are still lost by the end of this episode. But Cam, want to get us started off?
Yeah, big news coming out of Provo, Utah. Let me pull up the tweet that I really enjoyed from J. Drew on X.
Yes, I know exactly what
you're talking
about. This is probably top 5 tweets that I've seen, like in reference to BYU. So good.
I did see this from someone else first. His old Twitter handle was Mower Ute. I don't know what it is now, but he's kind of one of those Utah fans that will just like playfully poke fun at BYU, but like deep down, he's a pretty cool dude. But check this out from J. Drew on X. White smoke over Provo. BYU has chosen a Catholic starting quarterback. Let me blow up this picture a little bit more. So there's a fire up there on South Mountain.
I was going to say, is that okay? Are we okay with, like...
I think so.
Is there any questions with the fire? Like...
I don't think so. I haven't heard anything too bad. One of my friends almost got evacuated, but I think the fire has been moving up the mountain instead of down the mountain. So I think everyone's fine. But yeah, Bear Bachmeier, starting QB number 1. Not saying we called it, but
I mean,
we called it.
I feel like we've had a couple of these moments where we've made takes and they have come to flourish. So yeah,
Bear Bachmeier.
Yep.
Angels not making the playoffs.
Oh, you're checking that one off right now? Okay.
Already, yep.
I'll check it off too, I guess, on my bingo sheet. So, no, that tweet. First off, I don't think it gets as much praise as it does, or it should get more praise. It is so good, so clever. I didn't know it was Catholic, so that makes it even more better.
That makes it even better too. Yeah.
Yes. And there are like some.
What are your first reactions?
Well, my first reaction, when I read the tweet, was I scrolled through the comments and it was like, what Jim McMahon set the table or whatever. It was like he started this. I'm like, yes, let's go.
I didn't even think about that.
My first reactions were, one, I thought back to our episode where we talked about it and said, if it's a close battle, which it sounds like it was,
Yeah.
then you gotta give it to Bear, or at least give him a shot.
Yeah. Shout out to Jerem Jordan for that take. That one, I want to make sure he gets credit for that one.
Yeah, for sure. I feel like going into this battle between the three quarterbacks, I feel like Hillstead must have had the edge, or kind of like the nod secretly from A-Rod, like, hey, this is basically yours to lose situation, or like you have an edge above these two other guys. And the fact that it didn't phase Bear at all for him to go in and just steal it, like he had no business probably winning that battle. And that, I think, shows a lot about him, especially with the praises from Roderick. And you can give your takes. I could pull up his after presser from practice, but his thoughts and Kalani's with Bear getting announced, I thought were great. So I'm excited. I'm really excited, honestly. Typically, I think in the past where there's been quarterback uncertainty in battles, I've been extremely nervous going into the season, but I'm low-key hyped. I can't wait to watch.
I saw a video, or I guess it was a reel, earlier today, and this guy was talking about like starting quarterbacks in recent years that were true freshmen. He talked about Dylan Raiola. He talked about I forget what the other people he talked about were, but basically he's like, most schools have had like one or two, like maybe in their entire, like, and these ones that are like have been recent years, like they're some of the first or second, true freshman starting quarterback that you've had.
Well, if you think about the past couple of years, I mean, Caleb Williams, he started freshman year at Oklahoma.
Drake May was
Drake May. I think Drake
May
might have.
It was either Drake May or Sam Howell.
I can't remember if it was Jalen or Tua for Alabama. They started their freshman seasons.
I don't think they started like game one. I think this was talking about just like.
But they like have had starts.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyways,
keep going.
They were talking about how, like, the average record for like the 5 or 6 they named was 6 and 7, and they talked about how, like, they were averaging 19 touchdowns and 10 interceptions on the year. And I mean, I take that, at least the 19 touchdowns, 7 interceptions. But this guy was saying, it's different because none of them had BYU's defense. Like, BYU's defense is going to be the saving grace of the team this year. Like, yes, it's going to be fun and flashy to have this quarterback. I mean, we played the clip from high school last time, from Marietta Valley High School out in California, where Bear just ran over. And it's up on my story right now. I mean, I'm not sure when this will get posted, but it'll probably be gone from my story. But go check out on my Instagram the repost or whatever thing is that is. I reposted it. Anyways. I think with the defense that it's going to allow Bear to make mistakes. Like, I think if we had, like a middle of the pack defense in the Big 12, like, I would be worried about, if Bear's not able to drive the ball down the field. Right? I'd be worried about if what we're going to be able to do. But where we have the number 2 kicker in the country in Will Farron, when we've got a punter with a boot in Sam Vanderhaar, right? The special teams is going to be there to help. We've got a defense that ranked number 1 in the country in interceptions last year, right? We have a defensive line who's going to be absolutely stacked with Kenan Tanavasa, John Talameo-Peo, which I think is how you say his last name. I heard it once the other day, and I'm like, I'm just gonna wing it.
It rolled off the tongue very smooth, so I'm gonna go with that.
I mean, announcing that Orem and Orem Granger game, lots of poly names. I had to become accustomed to that. But You got, Justin Kirkland. You got Assini Purcell. You've got, Hunter Clegg, who will be coming in a few years. I mean, he's there, but he'll be, he's got to grow a little bit. You've got really like those main guys. That's going to be a scary, scary defensive line. Not to mention you have Isaiah Glasker, Jack Kelly. You've got, Maury Bamba and Evan Johnson in the cornerback room. You have Tanner Wall as a safety. We've got a good defense, and I think that's going to allow Bear to be able to make mistakes and get accustomed to things here in his first year. And you were talking about the Catholic connection to Jim McMahon. I was just thinking, what was the first team that Jim McMahon went to in the NFL? He went to the Bears.
The Bears.
So, there's some sort of connection there. Maybe we can get Jim McMahon to come and help out. Catholic starting quarterback who comes to BYU, who's going to play his freshman year. Hopefully this means Bear Bachmeier doesn't have to punt like Jim McMahon had to. But,
yeah.
Hey, I'm excited. I really like that it's Bear.
Oh, I'm super excited. I think for Bear's situation, especially with him being a true freshman, not just a redshirt. I mean, you can look back last year like, hey, Sam Leavitt did it. He did it for Arizona State. He had no problem. Well, he was a redshirt freshman. Yeah. He had one season at Michigan State. He transferred over to Arizona State, and he even had some hiccups in the first couple of games, but then took off running. Hopefully, with Bear having had a spring camp with Stanford, getting coached by Andrew Luck for a little short time there, maybe he has a little bit more of a rhythm to him and understands the game a lot more. Here is A-Rod's comments after the announcement. Let me just pull it up real quick. I think it shows a lot how they view and see Bear.
Bear has earned the job. He's going to start against Portland State. He's had a great camp, and he's our guy. He's done a great job in camp taking care of the football. He's thrown the fewest interceptions of all the guys, and throws a really high completion percentage, and a lot of explosive plays through a bunch of touchdown passes, and just has done a good job leading our team. And he's very mature, man. Our players gravitate to him. He's a good leader. And, all these guys are good leaders, but rare to see a freshman who can lead the team the way he does every day. Bear has...
So, I love that little take from Ariel. I think in the full interview, I'm pretty sure it was A-Rod, he talks about how he is so smart that he picked up the entire playbook super fast. Like, they've only been in fall camp for about a little over 2 weeks. He has the playbook down. Like, that's one Stanford level intelligence there. So that definitely helps. But I'm beyond excited. And to kind of go back in reference to Jim McMahon a little bit, to have the resources available to him of just greatness, not only at the quarterback position, but just in the BYU football lore, it just goes on forever. I mean, I know and have heard stories of Steve Young and probably Jim McMahon as well, Ty Detmer, reaching out to younger up-and-coming football players at the university and giving them advice, giving them tips, and I can only imagine that will come to Bear without him even having to ask for it. So I think he has such a big future ahead of him. I did also see someone's concern with this, though, is how it might affect Ryder when he comes into the fold, so to say.
No.
My thoughts were, I don't think it's as big of a worry as some might think. I mean, by the time Ryder comes, Bear will be a junior.
Yeah. So
that could potentially be his last season, and there'll be a quarterback battle, I'm sure. In sense, if Bear is good and or great up to that point, then it's probably going to be his spot. But I think it only would help Ryder. I don't think he's going to come in and be disgusted or upset that he doesn't have the starting position right away. And if anything, you look at some of the great quarterbacks, college quarterbacks. You go to Peyton Manning. He had numerous starts for Tennessee when he was a freshman, granted, but he didn't start. He was a top prospect coming out of high school as well. So I don't see it as big of a problem as some others might see it, but I see it as a positive and will help the program develop and be more consistent and stronger down the line.
Yeah, I think a lot of it depends on what shape Ryder's going to be in coming off of his mission, and from the sounds of it, he's going to go to January. And so he'll have spring camp, and he'll have a fall camp. But I think my guess would be, because Bear, let's see, so he's 18 right now, so yeah, he wouldn't be able to go to the NFL after his sophomore season. We'd have to wait till his junior year. I could see, a situation where they say, okay, Ryder, this is going to be your job. We're going to let you watch Bear, maybe the first 2 games, and then we'll bench Bear and we'll let you come in. Like, I would actually be very, very shocked if Ryder doesn't come in and start that year. I just think he's too good. He's too high of a prospect. He could easily go in the transfer portal, which nowadays, if you're not starting a guy right when they come out, they're going to put their name in the portal, and he's going to go up and head to Oregon or USC, depending on if his brother's still there. And so I think you got to be careful with Ryder, and you have to make sure you start him right away, or else he's going to get up and leave, and then that kind of ruins what you're doing with the other top prospects that you're going to be getting.
And I don't see Ryder like this, because if he was, I don't think BYU would get him. But you see the guys that come in being top prospects having such a big ego and having the expectation. What do you mean I'm not starting? Are you kidding me? I was the number 1 player in North Dakota. Are you kidding me? Get me on the field. Like, I don't see Ryder having that kind of attitude, but it should scare you that he knows his worth. Yeah. And will go and seek someone that values what he offers and brings to the table. So I mentioned it just like 2 minutes ago. I can see it possibly turning into a Peyton Manning situation where he comes in and starts the last 3 quarters of the season when Ryder gets back from his mission. But
yeah, and I wouldn't mind that at all. I think that'd be a cool way to go about it, because I think it still shows. I mean, the great thing is, like, if Bear's going to be as good as some people think he is, that he'll be able to go to the NFL. That's ultimately the goal for him. Sounds like Tiger. His dreams don't lie with the NFL. His dreams, he's transferred. One of the big reasons he came to BYU is so he could attend the Marriott School of Business, and so it'll be interesting to see what Bear wants to do. If he's okay being a backup to Ryder. I definitely think what you're saying, like, it's not just going to be handed to Ryder, and it'll all depend on how Bear does, but it'll be interesting, for sure. I'm excited to see what happens, and I'm excited to see if, we do see McKay Hillstead at all this year, depending on how Bear does, and how, like, if Bear is able to stay healthy, especially since he is such a mobile quarterback. And, he's a running back linebacker, so he's going to be willing to take those hits.
Exactly. I could see Bear's future kind of going in line with one of a Taysom Hill. Yeah. Where there could be a lot of injuries down the line if he's not careful. And if I'm talking to McKay Hillstead, or if I'm McKay Hillstead, I'm honestly bummed, but you got to be ready. You never 100%. Know what's going to happen, what's going to come in. So, and you're a backup for a Division I football program, for goodness sake. Are you kidding me? Like, that's so many. I mean, kids probably don't have the dream of being the backup, but just getting up to the level that you're at is amazing. Even coming down from Utah, even being at Utah State where you were is crazy, but to come down to Provo is even better. But
yeah,
I'm excited.
Yeah. On the note of Utah State, let's talk about some of our predictions for the year for the in-state teams. You got the three. Oh my gosh, what was the word I was looking for? The three alliteration quarterbacks. There we go. Devin Dampier, Bryson
Okay.
Barnes, Bachmeyer. I'm excited to see what they do. I still think. I mean, you can go back and listen to our last episode. I still think Dampier is by far the best quarterback in the state. I think then you probably have Bear number 3, and then Bryson Barnes maybe at 5.
5.
I
Who's
think you're right.
Who's number 2? Who's number 2?
2, my opinion, I think. What's his name? I think Isaac Wilson's a better quarterback, just because
better, yeah.
you've seen him. He's had experience in the Big 12. Yeah, it was a bit of a dumpster fire for the Utes last year, but and then I think McKay Hillstead's probably better than Bryson Barnes, and so I don't know. Those are just some of my hot takes, but
I don't think that's too hot. In fact, I might have to look up the stats like one by one. But I want to say that Isaac Wilson's stats last year compared to Devin Dampier's weren't far off. Like, they weren't too far off.
I think my guess is that Isaac Wilson probably threw for more yards. But then again, Isaac only started 6 games.
Yeah, so 2024, I don't know how many games. It doesn't show how many games he started. I want to say around 6. 56% completion percentage, which is better than Dampier's last year. 1,500 passing yards, which I think is around the same.
Mm-hmm.
It's pretty close. And then 10 to 11 touchdown. So he threw 1 less interception, but 2 less touchdowns. So I beg to say that it's very similar stats, very similar quarterback play last year.
Yeah, Dampier went 58%, or about 2,700 yards, almost 2,800, and then 12 and 12. So,
I mean, for a true freshman compared to what Dampier is coming into that was his sophomore season last year, correct?
I believe so. Yeah, because he's a junior right now.
Yeah. So, I mean, that's not bad for a true freshman.
No.
For, quite frankly, if you just you look at the stats, you don't think he did that bad, but honestly, he was very flustered a lot of the time on the field. So,
and would you take, the stats that Isaac Wilson has? Would you take that if you're at BYU, and you say, because obviously, he played in.
Because Cam Rising only played in 3
4,
games,
5,
I believe.
6.
So so Wilson 8 games.
Yeah, he played in 6 games where he had at least 12 pass attempts.
12.
And so,
okay.
Because it was Utah State, Oklahoma State, Arizona, TCU, Houston, and Colorado, and so.
Right, because at the beginning of the season, Rising was still sitting out. They were basically babying him from that injury. So Wilson got the start of the first 2 games, and then the third game is when Rising came back, or no?
No, I think Rising started at the beginning of the year because Wilson threw 11 passes versus SUU, and then that second game against Baylor, which is when Rising got hurt near the end of the game, Wilson came in and threw 9 passes. And then.
So the first true start for Wilson was against Utah State. Okay.
And so, I don't know. Would you take, in the first 6 games for Bear, would you take 1,500 yards, 10 touchdowns, and 11 interceptions, or do you think they'd bench him?
If I'm comparing Isaac Wilson to Bear Bachmeyer right now, who am I taking?
Yeah. Like if Bear through his first 6 games has that stat line.
Compared to Isaac Wilson with a similar?
Yeah, like if he has Isaac Wilson's stats through the first 6 games. Would you take that, or would you jump ship and say let's bring in McKay?
Gosh. I think I'd probably do a very similar tactic what Utah was doing last season is they didn't jump between Wilson and Brandon Rose. They obviously went through 4 or 5 quarterbacks, but I'd probably juggle between Bear and Hillstead if through the first 6 games he does have those kinds of numbers. That's not terrible, especially with what are the outcomes, because Utah lost a lot of close games.
Yeah.
So if Bear is getting a lot of close wins, then I think you keep riding with him until he blows up or loses one that he should have won. I think I'm still going to stick with him, though, because ultimately it's you're growing. He's developing still. He's a freshman. He's 18 years old. And with how fast Roderick can flip a quarterback, and we've seen from Retzlaff's first year at BYU to his second year is astronomically different. Gosh, I couldn't say that. Way different from record-wise and statistical wise. So I think I'm still sticking with him. I don't know. Where are you going?
No, I agree. I think it's hard to compare, obviously, because Bachmeier is going to have 3 non-Power 4 teams to start the year, and let's be honest, Stanford's the bottom of the barrel.
Yeah.
ACC team. They are still Power 4, so you got to give credit where it's due. But where you're starting off against, Portland State and you have East Carolina, it's going to be a bit easier to ease into it than it was for Isaac Wilson to go Utah State, Oklahoma State, Arizona. Which those teams weren't great last year, but still,
they're better than Cal. They're better. Well, they're better than Stanford. They're better than Portland State, but.
But yeah, I don't know. I think you've made the decision now. I think you've got to wait until, unless you're 0-6, 0-5 maybe. I think you got to give. You made the decision. You said we're going to trust Bear. I think you got to let him go for at least half the season before.
I'm looking at a game right now where I think the cutoff is, and we can discuss it when we look at the schedules.
And let's jump to that right now. Let's jump to the schedules. Okay. Yeah.
All right. Let's start off with Utah State. I don't know if you've really gone through Utah State as much.
Good old Mountain West.
First thing that I noticed here is just the image here. When did Utah State wear these chrome tops? Because those are dope. Those are very nice.
Yeah, I don't think it's chrome. I think it's just the way it looks. But
is it just very glossed?
Yeah.
If they wore chrome helmets, though, that would be amazing. That would give Utah State unlimited brownie points.
Yeah.
Anyway, let's go through it. They got UTEP at home. They go to A&M. They got Air Force and McNeese State at home. Go over to Nashville. That's where Vanderbilt is, right? Go to Nashville. That's sweet. I'd love to go to Nashville. And then go right back and go to Hawaii. Are you kidding me? That's a sweet road trip right there.
It looks like they've got a bye week as well.
Yeah. Then they go to San Jose, go down to New Mexico. Got Nevada at home, UNLV, Fresno State away, and then end the season a home game against Boise State. That would be a very, very sick game to go to.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts jumping off, looking at the schedule? I don't know if this is the first time you've seen it or not, but...
So I've looked at it a little bit. I didn't realize I forgot they were going to play Vanderbilt as well and Diego Pavila. My first thought, Bronco Mendenhall's first year. I look back to Kalani's first year, which I believe it was back in 2016, 2017?
Yep, 16, I believe.
16. BYU, I believe, went, I forget if it was 7-5 or 8-4 that year, but...
I want to say 7-5. I want to say he missed the bowl game.
First in Independence. Let's go.
Yeah.
Love when it says that. So, because his first game was against Arizona. So started off 1-3. 3-3, 4-4. Yeah, so we finished 8-4 after a rough start.
So we did get a bowl game.
We did get a bowl game that year. We went and played Wyatt. That was when we beat Josh Allen in the Poinsettia Bowl.
Yes.
But I look back and think about kind of what did it look like for him. And obviously, you know, BYU had better players than I think Utah State has right now. But if I were to just go game by game, just real fast, I think you beat UTEP, you lose to A&M, you probably lose to Air Force, you beat McNeese, you lose to Vanderbilt, lose to Hawaii. So you're 2-4 through the first 6 games. Then I think you go and you beat San Jose State, you beat New Mexico, you beat Nevada. You kind of get on a little roll, go you're 5-4 at that point. UNLV with Dan Mullen, you'll probably lose to them. And then beat Fresno State, lose to Boise State. So I wouldn't be shocked if they went 6-6.
All right. Is that your prediction?
The big thing is, give me 5-7. They probably lose to either San Jose State or Nevada.
All right.
Yeah.
Which of these games? Because I feel like there's always a couple games on the schedule, no matter who your team is, where you look at it and like, that's going to be a close game. It's a coin toss where you believe like you can squeak out a win, but you could very well lose this game as well.
Yeah, I think the big 3 are going to be Hawaii, San Jose State, and Nevada. Like, you're going to have to win probably 2 of those games if you want to be bowl eligible. Because Air Force was pretty good last year. And I don't know a whole lot about the Mountain West this year. I haven't looked into it too much. But
those Air Force teams, I forget the head coach for Air Force, the Air Force Academy.
But, yeah, I think that stretch of Hawaii, San Jose State, New Mexico, and Nevada, and I mean, you'll beat New Mexico because they kind of lost everything. They're having to start from scratch again. But that one, you're gonna have to win 3 games in that stretch, I think, if you're Utah State and you want to make a bowl game.
Troy Calhoun is the head coach for Air Force. He has a 135-89 winning record in 18 years coaching for the Air Force Academy. So he knows how to win. And he has had 11 winning seasons, 10 win seasons. 12 winning seasons, including an 11-win season, 4 10-win seasons, 3 9-win seasons, and 3 8-win seasons. So he knows how to win. So Cam marking it down with 5-7 for Utah State with Broncos' first year.
I don't know. Bump me back up to
Aggies.
6-6.
6-6, okay.
Yeah. I think they could squeak out a bowl game.
All right, 6-6 is Cam.
Shout out to my former teammate, Noah Flores, who's on the Aggies, DB.
See, I'm running through it. They're 1-1 after A&M. They beat UTEP. I also think they lose to Air Force. They get McNeese, so that they're 2-2. They lose to Vanderbilt, but I think they beat Hawaii, so I think they're 3-3 up at the midway point in the season. Then I think this is where they kind of go on a roll. They win 3 straight, so they're 6. I think they're basically bowl eligible because I think I don't think 6-6 is always guaranteed a bowl. I think that's kind of borderline. Like you may or may not get a bowl.
I think normally it is just depending on if it's an even or odd number of teams, and so I think normally you hit 6, you're guaranteed.
So I think they're pretty much guaranteed a bowl game. After the Nevada game, I think they win. I think they then lose to UNLV, lose to Fresno State, and then I think this Boise State game is the one that I keep looking at because Boise State is going to win the Mountain West no matter what. I think they go to another playoff, but for some reason, I feel like I don't know. Maybe I'm just thinking of BYU Boise State games, and I think that it might be a thriller or whatever. But it's in Logan.
I would be shocked if Boise State didn't win by at least 3 touchdowns. If they don't win that game, they're not making the college football playoff.
Okay, that is very true, actually. Yeah, if you're a Boise State team, you lose to.
Like, it's going to go to Army or Tulane and whoever's going to come out of the American Conference. If Boise State doesn't win that game right there.
Okay. I might go 6-6 as well, but just to be fun, I'll do 7-5. I think they might get one of those.
I don't know. I just think with how bad Utah State was last year, like I get it. They have a new quarterback, new coaching staff.
They don't just got new. They got 84, 85 new players on the roster.
Yeah. And so, like, you're going to miss your top receiver in Jalen Royals. You're going to miss, your top pretty much everything. But, I don't know. I think Broncos hopefully should be able to turn some things around.
That's my thought, is Bronco gets it done. His first season at Virginia,
yeah.
I think he got him to a winning record. I think he got him to a bowl game.
Look at what he did with New Mexico last year.
Yeah.
Like, he did really well with, New Mexico standards. Like, so, yeah, I think
they get to a bowl game. I think they are at least 6-6. I think what you said. I want to give him an edge over a team like maybe Fresno or maybe UNLV. I think they do ultimately lose that Boise State game. Maybe it's like they're kind of in it with them going into halftime, and then they kind of just lose the grip.
Yeah, I could see that
going into the second half. But I'll mark down 7-5 for myself. You're at 6-6, so I don't mind that. It'll be a very fun season for sure for Broncos first year. Moving on, we'll move on to a
Utes.
team up north.
Don't love the graphic.
No?
I think Utah State's was better, a little bit easier to read.
I don't know if this is the official one, because there's like this guy I think might have made it, and there's like 3 different variations where the middles are the graphic are different, where one's white and one's more black. So this might not be Utah's official, so don't dog on it too much. But I agree, not my favorite. But
I'll let you go first with this roster or with the schedule.
The first game of the season right off is going to be, I think, the test for this team. I feel like for most teams, it's kind of like the 3rd or 4th game in the season where you kind of get to see who they really are. I think this UCLA game is just right off the bat. We're going to see if Devin Dampier is him or not.
Yeah.
And quite frankly, going to see if UCLA is who they are with who's the transfer from Tennessee.
Nico Iamaleava or whatever his name is.
Yeah, Iamaleava. See if
Nico
he's worth
going to transfer.
Yeah. We'll see if UCLA's spending budget was worth it on him. So that game is going to be very interesting. I don't know if they win or lose that game. I think they win because it's at the Rose Bowl, and the Rose Bowl is always dead. As in like the last 7 to 8 years, it has just been non-existent. It is not a home field advantage whatsoever.
I mean, brand new quarterback though, coming from Tennessee,
that's true. Season ticket sales might be up, but unless you're Ohio State or I guess Utah, then you'll actually have fans in the Rose Bowl. But I think they get the win at UCLA. They beat Cal Poly. They beat Wyoming. Then they lose to Texas Tech. I think that's their first loss. I think Texas Tech is going to. They spend and spend. So I think that money is, out of all the teams that have spent and have used the NIL to their advantage, I think Texas Tech will probably.
Texas Tech did just lose their starting running back for the season, so that'll be something to watch.
Really? I didn't hear that. What happened?
Yeah. Season-ending surgery. I don't know exactly what it was. I heard on the radio yesterday, though.
Well, they'll probably just go buy another one somehow. So
he was a transfer. I think he was from USC.
Okay.
Where he came from. But yeah.
But I think they lose to Texas Tech. Let's see, away at Virginia. West Virginia is a tough road environment. I think they might have difficulties there. I'll mark them for 2 there. Home against Arizona State, that's also tough. If Sam Levitt continues this, if Sparky can manage without Scadaboo, then or if they can't, then their season will be very interesting by far. I want to say Arizona State isn't that good this year. I
don't think there will be either.
I think it was just all Scadaboo last year, so I think Utah will get the win over Arizona State. That puts them at 3-3 going to rivalry weekend. I'll leave that game for now. I'm not going to say anything about that game yet. I think we can talk about that game on the next slide. I think they beat Colorado. That puts them at least at 4 wins. I think they beat Cincinnati. That puts them at 5. Baylor, I think they lose that game. That puts them at 4 losses at least. Kansas State, that's a home game. I think they get that win. That's 6. And then they go on the road to Kansas. That's a sweet field that they have now. That's a nice stadium. Those are cool end zones, and because of that, they lose to Kansas. So
there's no way they lose to Kansas.
Hey, those cornfield end zones are kind of intimidating. No, they're not intimidating at all. But they're cool. They're very cool. If you have not seen them, they are very, very cool. They're very
sweet.
Nice. They're not like out there. Like they blend in and complement the stadium very well. So what's that? I have 6 wins on the season, so I think they're bowl eligible. So
yeah, Utah's.
That's where I'm at.
Okay.
I have them at 6 wins. That's all I'm going to write down for me.
See, like, without looking at the schedule, I'd be shocked if they don't go at least 8-4. And I want to put them at 9-3. Yeah, I'll say. So UCLA, they'll win.
What did I say? I said they beat Kansas State, though, right? So I think I have them at 7 wins.
Okay. So they'll start off 3-0. They'll probably lose to Texas Tech. Oh, it's a home game, though.
See, this is where I had trouble, because between Texas Tech and Kansas State, those are 2 very tough home games. I think Kansas State and Texas Tech will be in the top tier for competing for the Big 12 championship, and I think they win one of those 2 games. And so I just kind of flipped. I took Kansas State.
So Texas Tech has 3 home games before they travel to Utah, so that'll be their first road game of the year. They don't play anyone good. They play Arkansas, Pine Bluff, Kent State, and Oregon State before they play Utah.
Here, let me look up something to see if they have a timeout for that game, because maybe that changes.
They don't have a time yet.
Nope.
Man, I don't think...
If you look against Cal Poly, that's an afternoon game, but they're playing at night at UCLA, and then in the evening, 6 p.m. against Wyoming. So I don't know if that's might be a trend of some sort.
I think, you know what? I think they beat Texas Tech. I think Utah starts off 4-0. They're probably ranked in the top 15. Then they probably, I wouldn't be shocked if they lost to West Virginia. I think they'll lose one of those 2 games, Texas Tech or West Virginia. But I'll go with West Virginia for now. I think they beat Arizona State, so I think they head into Provo at 5-1, and we'll leave that one. They'll beat Colorado. They'll beat Cincinnati.
So you're at 7
at Baylor
right now?
Yeah. At Baylor again is tough. I'd say they'll probably lose to Baylor, lose to Kansas State, and beat Kansas. So I'm at
8-3 right now?
8-3 right now, yeah.
Dang. Cam's high on the Utes right now.
I am. I think last year was an anomaly. Like, I would be shocked if the Utes aren't good this year and at least not vying for a Big 12 championship. If they don't finish the year ranked, I'll be surprised.
You'll be surprised? Okay. So Cam has at least 8 wins. I have at least 7 wins. It'll be...
Like I
Going
could
back
very
to
easily see Utah in the Big 12 championship game this year.
100%. And I think it just goes back to our last episode talking about who is Dan Pierre going to be? How does he perform? Like, what kind of quarterback is he going to be? I think we all have our hunches that he's going to be probably more scramble heavy than pocket passer, but it's gotten the Utes to 2 Rose Bowls with passers. So
this will probably be Whittingham's last year, I would be shocked if this isn't Whittingham's last year.
If they have at least an 8-win season, I think that this is going to be his last year, because that gets them to a pretty good bowl game. That probably gets them to, like, depending on where they lie in the Big 12 standings, probably an Alamo Bowl, maybe.
Yeah, I can see that.
Which I think that's probably the best non-New Year's Six bowl.
Yeah, that or the Pop-Tarts Bowl.
The Pop-Tarts Bowl, yeah.
I wonder.
Agree, yeah.
I think they'll still have the Pac-12 tie-in to the bowl game, so they'd probably be representing.
Oh, they do. That expires after this season.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't have the Pac-12 tie-ins on the top of my head. So
yeah, I know Alamo Bowl is one of them. So
yeah, Alamo Bowl. Okay? No, we can get into that. We can get into conference championships and playoffs another episode. Well, I guess we can do that another episode. This one's been good. We'll move
51
on.
minutes so far. Not too bad. It's been action-packed.
Yeah. Here, we'll get to BYU's schedule, and then we'll run through some baseball real quick. So here's the Cougs schedule. I think you and I are very familiar with this one. Probably have our thoughts and predictions thus far. I'll let you go first.
Okay.
Let's save the Utah game for last. We'll discuss that one last.
Okay. Portland State 0-win. Interesting to see, last time Portland State came to Provo, they didn't have a field goal kicker on their roster. So put the over-under at 0.5 field goals kicked for Portland State. I think they beat Stanford. I think they beat East Carolina. They probably beat Colorado.
Home against West Virginia.
I think they go 5-1 in the first 6 games.
So leading up to Utah,
Mm-hmm.
5-1. So both teams go in at 5-1.
Yeah.
Both are ranked inside the top 15 or
both are
top
ranked,
18?
Probably top. I would say both are probably in the top 25 if they're 5-1, depending on when the losses are.
For sure, top 25. Yeah.
Maybe. Yeah, I'd probably say like top 20.
Yeah.
You have at East Carolina, at Colorado. We'll say this. We'll say Portland State, Stanford, East Carolina wins. Probably lose to Colorado, beat West Virginia and Arizona. And then I'd say you beat Iowa State, probably lose to Texas Tech. Well, no, I'll flip that. No, I think they lose to both Iowa State and Texas Tech. And then back home versus TCU, I'd probably pencil that in as a win. Beat Cincinnati and beat UCF. So right now they're at 8 wins. Yeah.
Yes.
I think at Colorado, they're not obviously going to be as great as they were last year, but I think they still have some pieces from their team last year. And so I think that'll be Bears' first big test. And so I'd give like a 33% chance to lose each of Colorado, West Virginia, and Arizona. And I think I'll leave it I'll say Colorado just because it is that first big test, that first big road game. It'll be, yeah.
All right. I like it.
My dad in the background just said, we're not losing to Colorado.
Well, I agree with your dad because I'm going Portland State, Stanford, East Carolina, Colorado wins. We're starting off 4-0. We're 100% in the top 25. I think at that point we're probably just outside the top 15.
Yeah.
Is my guess. Maybe just inside, maybe like 15 or 14. See, there's 2 games on their schedule that I really had to think. So I'm going to come back to West Virginia. I think they go to Arizona, they win. I think they beat Iowa State. I think they beat TCU, they beat Cincinnati, and they beat UCF. So I think they got at least 9. I think they lose to Texas Tech. I think they lose to West Virginia. So we're 9-2 right now. And that just leaves the Utah game for us.
Okay.
Which,
So you think they're okay.
So I think they're 5-1 going into Utah as well, with the loss coming at against West Virginia at home.
See, my thoughts with that one is like Vampire Cougs, it's a night game, it's a Friday night before conference. Like Rock is like that stadium is going to be going nuts. First Big 12 game of the year. Like that'll be.
That's why I'm like I don't know. Because I don't think we lose to West Virginia. That's just I don't think so. Because West Virginia has been a very mediocre program the last couple years.
They did bring in a new head coach, Rich Rodriguez.
And that's my other. I forgot to mention that is Rich Rod is back. Rich Rod has had the history, has had success with West Virginia at all the places that he's been, not just West Virginia, but. You know what? Screw it. We're 6-0 going in against the Utes.
If we're 6-0 going in against the Utes, we're not beating Utah.
We're not beating Utah. You think so? Do you think we have to have a little bit of a chip to beat them?
I'll come and say this. I don't think, like, as much as it pains me to say, like, looking at it.
Don't be that guy. Don't be that
looking
guy.
at it from an outside perspective, taking away my fandom, I do think Utah probably comes in and beats BYU. I just think Utah's defense is so good. And I know our defense is really good as well. But, I don't know, a true freshman quarterback who it is going to be the first rivalry game that he's a part of. I just think there's too much. I think if you had McKay, then maybe I'd be a little bit more comfortable because he knows the rivalry. He was a part of it last year. He grew up in Utah. He's a local kid from Skyridge. But I just think because you don't have as much, like, I think it'll be kind of like Brandon Rose last year, where it's just, like, you're
kind of has the
rivalry.
moments. He's kind of like, he's kind of getting the momentum, but kind of just falls off.
I think it's close, but I think BYU probably loses that by a touchdown. And so you finish BYU's 8-4 and Utah's 9-3.
Okay. Those are your final.
And as much as that pains me to say, like I think it'll be a close game. I think it'll be a really great game, and I don't want BYU to lose that game, obviously. But looking at it, like if I were someone living in Vermont, I think I'd give the edge to the Utes. And don't clip this and put this as one of our stories because I don't want this to be the focus. But
well, guess what, Cam? I just marked this clip, so
no, I will veto. I have all the passwords and everything. I will delete it.
You'll delete it.
I don't know. I think BYU finishes 8-4, and I think Utah finishes either 9-3 or 8-4. It's hard for me to like pinpoint games. I know we just went through them, but I think that rivalry game will be huge because I think both teams will be ranked in the top 20. I think both teams have a chip on their shoulder. You know, BYU's going to have a chance to beat Utah with a true freshman quarterback. Utah's, they haven't beat BYU since 2018, 2019?
Something
it's
like
2018. They haven't beat them since I was a freshman in high school.
Yes, 2018. I remember that game so vividly because Matt Bushman was having the game of his life.
Yeah.
He was. We had the momentum. I think going in at halftime, we had the lead, and then it just slipped away. Classic fashion.
Watch for that BYU Utah game, and you can clip this. That will be BYU's most competitive game that they're a part of this year. I expect it to be low scoring, and I expect it to be a great defensive battle. But just watch out for that game. I don't know if I can nail down a prediction for that one right now. I think I'll have to wait and see what the teams look like as they get closer. But look out for the Deseret Duel in Provo.
We need to bring that back. The Deseret Duel is such a... I mean, it's cold. That brings me back. That brings me back to 2012,
Little
early
Mountain West
2010s.
Trophy with Little Mountain.
Yeah, it was a cool logo too.
BYU doesn't want to call it the Holy War. They're trying to get rid of that. But Deseret Duel was it was clean. It was a cool
Classic.
trophy.
So many losses, but so many memories.
Very, very many losses.
I'm trying to take
Deseret
it in
first
from
duel. My bad.
Yeah, come on. I'm trying to take it in from an outside perspective as well. Not from a Vermont perspective because those people don't watch football. Maybe from a New England, they're New England. From a Boston perspective, because they dabble in the college football here and there. The two games I have lined out that will tell us who Bear Bachmeier is West Virginia. I think that was probably the biggest game that he is going to play.
Yeah.
Up next to Utah. But then I think the second is probably going to be at Colorado. I know East Carolina is the first road test, but it's East Carolina. This isn't 2020 where East Carolina for some reason just was really good, and I'm still salty about that game.
It wasn't 2020.
By the way.
It was 2022, I think, when they beat us because I was on my mission. I don't remember that game at all.
I thought it was 2020 because I thought it was COVID, and Wilson threw to Dax, and he stopped on the 1 yard line. Wasn't it 2020?
That was Coastal Carolina.
Coastal Carolina, that's right. No, sorry, East Carolina, my bad. You got Mr. Beast on your side.
Yeah, it was 2022, October 28th.
22. That's I got my Carolinas mixed up. That's embarrassing. I don't think East Carolina is going to be that much of a threat or that much of a hostile environment for Bear. So I think that Colorado and West Virginia game, those are the two big games, especially them being back-to-back. And then looking at Dan Pierre, obviously the UCLA game, but then the Texas Tech game. Also a home and away scenario there. I can see this game being somewhere in the 24 to 27 range with the final score. It being homecoming night, though, it's going to be Vampire Cougs. It's going to be a freaking 8 p.m. kickoff. I can only imagine the alumni that would be there. I'd have to look at the NFL bye weeks to see, what pros are coming into town. I want to say we kick it to three in a row.
I hope so.
I say we kick it to 3 in a row. I think I don't think we go into the game thinking about it now at 6-0. I think we'll come out of it 6-1.
Ooh, KVN's going to be there. Baltimore Ravens and Buffalo Bills have bye weeks.
Yeah. We're no way Calvin Illinois is coming into town and we're losing to Utah. He is. Oh my gosh, have you seen his? He's like at a barber shop. He's getting his hair done and he's going through the schedule and marking off the wins. Mm-hmm. So good.
I'll say this. Yeah. I'll give Utah 55% chance to win. BYU 45%.
Okay, I mean that's good. I'll take those odds. I want to go in as underdogs, honestly. I think ultimately, if we are both 5-1 or 6-0, Utah will be higher ranked just because I think their schedule coming into the game is a little tougher with UCLA, Texas Tech, and West Virginia, and possibly Arizona State, maybe depending on how they turn out. So I think they will be higher. I will guess they'll probably be around like 14, 13 ranked probably, and we'll be like 18, 19 maybe.
Okay.
So that gives me even more confidence that I think we get it done. Because what year 2021 with Jaron Hall?
Mm-hmm.
I was at that game and I was scared out of my mind because I had no confidence that we were going to win that game, and I thought our team was not very great. I didn't think we were that good that year. And ultimately, I think besides the quarterback situation, I think our team is much better compared to that team.
Yeah.
And I would say possibly even better than last year's team. So I think the Cougs go 9-3.
Okay.
I think their ceiling is 10-2 and their floor is 8-4. Though 7-5 is their floor, I think.
Yeah, I'm okay with that. I think it's 6 or 7-5.
But again, I think it all comes down to how, and for both teams, how the quarterbacks performed leading up to this game.
Yeah.
So
no, I think that is fair. I'm looking just real quick the NFL schedule. So Pittsburgh and Cincinnati right now are slotted for the Thursday night game that week. So you'd get Ryan Rico, Caleb Etienne.
okay.
For sure, no Puka. He'll be in London.
No wait, they'll have left like on Monday.
Yeah, probably KVN. So those would be the three Cougs that are in the NFL right now that could come back for that game.
The three Cougs, all I need, the three Cougs I thought of that I needed there was going to be either Jamal, Calvin, or Puka. The fact that KVN is going to be there, that's all I need.
At least I would assume he would be there since he's got the bye week.
Why would he not be there? Why would he not be there? If he's not, he's dead to me. I'm sorry. If you're listening, Kyle, you're dead to me if you're not at the homecoming game.
So
we're basically a week away, Cam. This is so freaking. I'm
so exciting.
Pumped. I am so pumped. Oh my gosh.
I was down in Provo today. I was driving down by the stadium, and I was like, man, I am ready for this.
You're just glancing, just staring like, isn't she pretty? It's like your senior year prom date, right? Like, ooh, glitter in your eyes. Okay, to go over Utah State schedules. Recap: Cam's got him going 6-6. In Broncos' first year, I got him going 7-5. For the Utes, Cam's got him going 9-3. I got him 7-5 as well. For the Cougs, Cam's got the Cougs going 8-4, and I've got him going 9-3. Who's the biased one? We'll never know. But I'm excited. Next week we'll probably we had playoff predictions on here, but we're kind of running short on time, so we'll probably get into that next week at some point. But no, I think that just about does it for this episode of the SBS podcast.
I'm Cam. That's Connor. This has been another episode of the Scoreboard Sports Podcast. We'll catch you all next time.